Okay, guys, I have a request here. Someone requested for me to type Mads Mikkelsen. He's a Danish actor you might know from the TV series Hannibal, where he played Hannibal Lecter. And then what else? What else? Oh yeah, he was also in James Bond. He was also one of those Daniel Craig James Bond movies. He played the main villain. So this video is going to be about how you can go about typing someone. It's a pretty straightforward process. I've been using not really a template from a book, but I've been using a template I made for myself. But most of the useful material for typing somebody can be found in this book called Energies and Psychological Type, and I have a chart here from that book that lays out archetypes, quote unquote, but it's more like attitudes that you can associate with each function, which is also an attitude. So you can say in general, if you have a function, say you have like extroverted sensation, it will have some attitude that goes with it. Okay, so say somebody's an extroverted sensing hero, then extroverted sensing is their area of strength or pride, and and so on and so on and so on with the other ones. Okay, so we'll go step by step, and I'll show you guys how I figured out this person's type. So to start off, we're going to start with just a blank slate, and then I'm going to start watching clips, and I only looked at 2 interviews here. So I read his biography, a little bit of his biography on Wikipedia, and then I also watched a couple of YouTube videos. What else did I do? Yeah, and I watched these two major interviews. I watched like another interview on some random news channel that it was like okay, and it kind of clued me in, but I didn't have an idea because it's hard to type actors because for various reasons, but it's very difficult for me to type actors because they're very good at just rehearsing things to say. So you don't really get a good idea of who the hell they are just from watching their interviews, which a lot of them are usually scripted. So I looked at 2. This first one is about it's an interview about his movie that he starred in, and he played somebody that was accused of being like a sex offender or something, but he was innocent, and it was like very obvious that he was innocent, but like this town fell into a mass hysteria. The movie's called The Hunt, by the way, and it's a Danish film. But this town fell into a mass hysteria and like accused him, and he plays like this kindergarten teacher. I haven't seen it. This is just like from reading Wikipedia, but he plays this kindergarten teacher who's like wrongly accused of being a sex offender. Okay, so we're gonna watch some interview footage from this.
It was very important for Thomas and Tobias, and also when I read it that we didn't make it into a thriller. For us, it would be too banal. We wanted it to be a film about the interaction between people and how, in this case, great love can turn into enormous fear and eventually enormous hate, and how simple and small means that takes.
All right, so he wanted to make a movie about interactions between people, and he's very interested in the emotions of other people. And him and the director, or I guess it's the writer, I can't remember who it is that's sitting beside him, but they want to make a movie about other people's emotions, and they wanted to make sure it was shown in a certain light, so it's not a thriller. It's strictly a drama about people's emotions and very deep emotions. Okay, so I'm going to say this guy's an extroverted feeler just from that. We can just, and that's not to say 100% just, I'm not saying, oh, I know he's an extroverted feeler just from that one thing. No, I'm not doing that for the very cringy basement dwellers that are going to be claiming that I'm doing that. No. So I'm saying, okay, this is one possible case. All right. So I'm going to call that, what did I put in the video? I filmed the video and the audio separately. All right, so I said case A. All right, let's try this. Let's try out case A. All right, I'm going to say, all right, let's take the hero attitude. We can say his area of strength or pride. Okay, let's try that out. Okay, is he a dominant extroverted feeler? Is that his hero or dominant function? Okay, in that case, then we would have to say that his inferior function is introverted thinking. For the auxiliary, we could have NI or SI, and then for the opposing, which would be like the first shadow function, we should say that's FI or TE. All right, that's case A. All right, so we want to look at another case. I don't think that's in the first video. No. Okay, so that's all case A. All right, that's if he's in. I'm saying first, if he is a dominant extroverted feeler, these are the things that we need to gain evidence for. Okay.
I've always wanted to work with Thomas, and then he gave me the script, and I found it beautiful and heartbreaking, and also very, very frustrating to read. I think we all have that feeling. I did at least when I read it, that I needed something to happen. Why is he not doing it? I needed my anger to go somewhere. I wanted to hit something. I wanted to scream out something. But I couldn't point my finger at any enemy. I understood my friend. I understood the principal at the kindergarten. I understood the little kid. So that frustration was a good reason to show this film, I think, and make this film like it was, because that's exactly how Lucas feels, and like what we experience. And when we watch it, we cannot put our anger anywhere.
All right, so more extroverted feeling with that last clip. And breaking that down a little bit more, it's like, okay, so let's say you're somebody that wasn't too adept at extroverted feeling. If you were to listen to him talk about that, then that would help you with your own extroverted feeling. So I would say there, I'm gonna say, and people are gonna be like, wait, what are you saying? Are you saying that's for sure? It's like, no, I don't know for sure. I don't know 100% whether or not I should assign that to the which position, to the father/mother. I'm just saying, okay, it looks like he is nurturing people's extroverted feeling. That's what it looks like to me. So I'm gonna say, all right, let's try that out. Let's put that in the second position instead of the first. So most people would probably be familiar with that being the auxiliary function. Okay, so I'm saying, all right, extroverted feeling is this guy's auxiliary function. I can pretty much confidently say that that's a possibility. And if I'm going to take that seriously as a possibility, then I have to look at the things that implies. So if I'm going to be putting extroverted feeling in the second position, that implies that I have in the second shadow function, so that corresponds to the senex/witch, or the area of limit setting and control, that I have to find evidence for that. And how about, or that tells me that I should be able to find evidence for that, because, okay, I'm saying I can see extroverted feeling, so I should be able to see the shadow side somewhere. If I watched a ton of videos, let's say I watched like 100 interviews with this guy, I should be able to find that. Okay, that should be more obvious at least than the thinking, because, okay, let's say that the thinking is something that might be harder to see evidence for, because this person, that's not one of his main preferences. The main preferences I have at this with this assignment could be introverted intuition or introverted sensing as the dominant function, because I'm saying that extroverted feeling is our possible assignment here for the auxiliary, so we can only have two different choices for dominant. Okay, so that tells me, all right, I have to look for I'm now looking for introverted thinking in an area of immaturity and play. I have to look for extroverted thinking in an area of manipulation and paradox, and introverted feeling in an area of limit setting and control. Okay, so I have to look for some of these because they're implied by my assignment of extroverted feeling to the second slot, but they're not. It's not evidence for it. Just because I say, all right, I think that just because I found some solid evidence for extroverted feeling doesn't imply. I mean, no, it does imply, but it is not evidence for the other ones. Okay, I have to actually find evidence for the other ones. All right.
What drives you bananas?
I guess stupidity in the sense of people consciously using other people's stupidity to their own benefit. That really makes me angry. I'm talking about politicians now.
All right, so first, after looking at this clip, what I can say is I was looking for the shadow side of extroverted feeling, and I believe that I found it. I believe that I found some evidence for introverted feeling at least. Maybe it's not 100% that exact function assignment, but I can say, okay, that was some clear introverted feeling. Okay, he's saying he doesn't like, he thinks it's immoral if politicians are taking advantage of people. He doesn't like that. All right, so we can look at our definitions here, and we can say, all right, this is a defense if we look at senex/witch. Okay, senex if it's a guy. Okay, so senex defends by refusing, belittling, and activating sets limits. Okay, so we can say, all right, that's like, okay, he's belittling some politicians there. I would say that's all right for me. So I would say, all right, we have a little bit more evidence for extroverted feeling auxiliary, and then the second shadow function is introverted feeling. Okay, so I'm gonna say, all right, now I would need to find evidence for extroverted thinking or introverted thinking But I don't have to do that per se to make that case 100%. So that's just looking at the inner ring there. So I've made my case. I've narrowed it down. Now that I have those two, I've narrowed it down. So I'm looking for a dominant function of either introverted sensing or introverted intuition.
Describe a perfect day.
If I'm not working, I would probably get up and I will sit on my bicycle and go for a couple hours on that with my son maybe, and later on I'll do something with my daughter, and I will have a nice meal in the evening with my wife.
Okay, so this guy's ideal day is a bunch of introverted sensing activities. So right there, I'm going to be like, all right, well, I could possibly assign that to the first slot. I can possibly assign that to the dominant slot, the area of strength and pride, and the this is the function in which all the other functions have to. I used the word before. I've used the word subordinated to, so I could say the other functions are subordinated to this. And also from an introverted sensing perspective, that's just something that that's just the right thing to say there. From a sensing perspective, hearing somebody say, "All right, well, I want to go on a nice bike ride with my kids, and then do something with my daughter, and then at the end of the day, have a meal with my wife." That's just the right thing to say from an introverted sensing perspective there. So not only is his perfect day centered around a bunch of introverted sensing activities. Let's just say he's acting there and he knows that's what people want him to say. You also need very good introverted sensing and very good extroverted feeling to know that people want you to say that in an interview and actually do it. Like you might know that people want you to say that, but you might not say it. Actually doing it and having it be believable is a whole nother thing. Okay, but if I'm saying, all right, this guy's ISFJ, then I have to find, all right, to make a better case, I have to find some other things too. Looking at the outer ring now, I have to look, all right, so for something else that should be obvious if it's a strong function, should be extroverted sensation in an area of frustration and challenge. To really make my case here for ISFJ, I would also need to look for an area of embarrassment and idealization in terms of extroverted intuition. And then, it's doubtful that you're going to find this in an interview, but an area of undermining and redemption in terms of introverted intuition. But if you're watching a celebrity interview, it's very unlikely that somebody's going to keep in something demonic that someone's done in an interview. Why wouldn't they edit that out? Like you might get a little bit of embarrassment or idealization, but something demonic, unless I have a video on that. The previous videos on the demon function. But it's usually deliberate, and most of the time people interviewing people don't deliberately want to undermine them or make them look bad.
What's an irresistible temptation for you?
Unfortunately, I'm smoking a lot of cigarettes, so I guess it's a temptation. But when I'm not resisting it, I guess you can't call it temptation anymore. But smoking, yeah.
All right, so smoking's a challenge. Quitting smoking is a bit of a challenge. It's a temptation. I'd be comfortable saying, all right, that's an area of frustration or challenge. It says self-critic, so he's self-critical about, a little bit self-critical about his habit of smoking. And that's a sense you get from an object. That's extroverted sensation, the habit of smoking. So I would say that's evidence for the first shadow function.
What's your philosophy of life?
I don't think I have one. I think even though I am absolutely not religious, I do believe in treating other people the way that you want to be treated yourself. I think that one was a smart move by the old religious people. So that one, I'll stick to that one.
So when it comes to things that you can't sense, when it comes to speculation, in terms of philosophy, they're asking like, do you have a general philosophy by which you abide by? And he's like, well, no, not really. But there's other people that have come up with philosophies that I do think are acceptable. And he's not saying like other contemporaries. He's saying there's some great people a long time ago that founded these religions, and I think that they were pretty solid. So I wouldn't say that this is embarrassment in terms of extroverted intuition, but I would say maybe it's a bit of idealization. I think you can make a case for idealization there in that fourth slot. So it's something that he's not doing himself, per se. He's not saying, oh, this is my philosophy. He's saying, all right, well, there's these other people. Like, this is a philosophy I go by, but there's these other people there's these other great people from a long time ago that came up with them, and this is why I abide by these philosophies. Note, we still don't have, even after that, even if we do say, all right, well, that's inferior extroverted intuition, we still haven't even begun to make a case for demonic introverted intuition or trickster extroverted thinking. But it's like, okay, in a movie, should you even expect stuff like that to be included in an interview of a movie star? Especially like demonic stuff. Like, would you expect that to be left in and not edited out? No. So I think I've made a strong case for ISFJ. Of course, you're going to get people that are just like, no, man, like, how about this? It's like, all right, well, I don't really care, because this is what I think so far. I'm going to close the file on this guy, at least for myself. So, yeah, let me know if this is a helpful procedure for you guys. Like, I'm not actually asking your guys' opinion on whether this is correct or not. So I know there's going to be a bunch of introverted thinkers in there that think I'm asking for their opinion, which I'm not. So if you do write books in the comments on how you disagree, I'll probably just delete them. If you write short responses about why you disagree, I will maybe clarify my opinion, but I'm not going to let people use this as a stage for their basement dweller comments. So yeah, let me know if this helped you out.